In the What's Your Name E section, we talked about how we were starting to teach the kids that E can yell over one letter, but if there's more letters in the middle, that he can't yell over two and still make the letter say his name. So the next group of letters that we're teaching the kids, the next group of vowels that we teach the kids, are the buddy vowels. And that helps us to give them a way to spell and read words that do have more letters between the vowel and the E, perhaps. The buddy vowels are these four: A-E, A-Y, E-A, and O-A. Now, these are kind of the ones that you are taught. Two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking, and it says its name. Now, back whenever I was in school, we were taught that. I was about one of the last ones through. Lots of moms and dads out there right now came through the school system when the school system was using a system that they call whole language, where there were no phonics taught. And I've run into almost every adult I've run into cannot articulate what these rules are. They didn't learn them as a kid. There's no reason you would know it unless you are explicitly taught it, because nobody walks around just making vowel sounds. But now the shift is coming back and kids are being taught phonics. And unfortunately, there's a lot of moms and dads out there who really are at a loss for how to help because they've never been taught these things themselves. So that's what I'm going to touch on for most of this, so that you kind of have an idea of what your kids are hearing. And it's kind of eye-opening too whenever you start learning those phonics rules, and it may even improve in your spelling and make it a little bit easier for you sometimes. AI is always used in the middle. AY is always used at the end. EA, we teach them that these two letters say E. They actually make three sounds. They say E, and A, like eat bread and steak. OA says O. Unfortunately, with these, with the AI, EA, and OA, a lot of times the only way you know if it's spelled this way or with What's Your Name E is simply by being able to recognize it. We call it a visual memory, and we talk about that with the kids, how they just have to recognize, oh, that word looks right because I've seen it in stories enough times that I know that the word pail is spelled this way whenever I mean the bucket, or that beach is spelled this way instead of EE. If your child is writing and they come up with a legitimate way to spell something, like if they would be writing the word mail, like I have a letter that I want to mail, and they spell it M-A-L-E, stop them and explain, you know what, that is a way to spell male, but like that it means boy. Can you think of a different way to spell that A sound? And see if you can get them to come up with this. If they cannot remember it, just tell them. And then know in your head you have to go back and you have to be asking that question over and over again. Conversely, if you're reading and you're reading a word like male, you might stop them after you get done with the page, go back to that word and say, hey, you know what, this word was male, but which two letters here are making that A sound? And help them to identify that those two vowels are working together to do that. The more natural times you can point that out to your child, the more it's going to make sense to them. And unfortunately, with these kind of phonics rules, the only way that they're going to get a hold of those is through practice, 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 exposure, 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 which is why we need at home for you to be backing us up in what we're doing at school with those things, because there is no way that we can give them enough practice just at school with these kind of skills for them to be able to really become confident and solid in them.